Welcome to Alienating the Audience. I'm your host, Andrew Heaton, the thinking man's nerd. As we all go through quarantine together, I am putting together more live shows for this podcast. I'm saving the deep stuff, the author chats and talking to academics and scientists for the regular show that you've already experienced. But for the live shows, like today, it's basically just a very full meal of comfort food. It's straight up sci-fi carbo loading, just for fun. Today, Josh Jennings and Nick Sperdute, both regulars on this program, join me to play a variant of Marry Bop Kill with Star Trek. Have you all played Marry Bop Kill before?
In some certain sense, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then
played it in prison for real stakes.
So we're going to play a variant of that, except with Star Trek. Instead of Marry Bop Kill, John Krikorian, who's a former and beloved guest on the program and host of Trek Profiles, and will probably do this himself in some capacity in the future, he suggested and has done a game on his show called First Officer Holodeck Buddy Red Shirt. So kind of the same concept of Marry Bop Kill, but a little bit less explicitly sexual, which is, now I'll specify this. As a man who's trapped under house arrest by myself in my apartment, I would have sex with any of the characters that we're about to describe, regardless of species or gender. But for our purposes, we're just doing First Officer, Holodeck Buddy, and Red Shirt.
I'm not quarantined with Andrew Heaton because I imagine eventually I'd get roped into something.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm like going into my hallway like with pieces of chalk, just drawing arrows to my apartment, and like trails of chocolate and condoms, in hopes that some random person from my apartment building will wander in, and then I'll just I'll be naked with candles and things. So yeah. All right. So First Officer, Red Shirt, Holodeck Buddy. Here's our first trio that we're going to go through. Okay. This is the cool guys trio. So organize accordingly. Captain Kirk, Captain Rio, and Tom Paris. Nick, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to write down what I want at your holodeck. So I'm going to say Rio for the red shirt. Sorry. I'm going to say Kirk for my first officer, Kirk, and I'll do Paris for the holodeck. Okay. All right. Hold on. Why are you going to get rid of Rio? I feel like I would definitely prioritize Rio higher than I would Tom Paris. Because that was my decision. Okay. And I think that I could have more conversations with Paris in which I would feel powerful still. And that's all I need. So you're wanting to maintain the dynamic of being the person that's like dominating the room, and you feel Rio would be more of a challenge. Am I captain in these situations? Yeah. Because if I have a first officer, I'm the captain. So then, yeah, absolutely. I don't want Paris to think that he can try to make things attach. Ain't nobody got time for that. So your theory is that Kirk would acknowledge the chain of command and be a good first officer. Rio would not, and so you want to kill him. And Paris would be like a beta male that you could push around on the holodeck. That's pretty much what your strategy is. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Jennings, how about you?
I'm going to go close to that, but I'm going to switch them around. I'm going to put Kirk as red shirt. Yeah.
At two, Jennings?
I have a good reason.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to put Kirk as the red shirt. Tom Paris, I'm going to keep as a holodeck buddy for a different reason. And then I'm going to go with Rio as first officer. Kirk as red shirt, because bear in mind, not all red shirts die. And if one of them is less likely to die, it's probably Kirk. He's probably going to be fine. He might come back with a sexually transmitted disease.
Yeah.
That's going to be about the worst of it. Okay. I think Rio will probably make a terrible first officer, but since I'll be captain, I don't care. I'll just outrank him. And then Paris, holodeck buddy, because Paris writes programs.
Because Paris he does what?
He writes holodeck programs like that.
I forgot about that.
He ended up becoming a holo novelist in the future. Remember?
Right. Yeah. So Paris, at least you could be like, hey man, do you have like I've been really wanting to go to the Kronos tennis. I don't know. Apparently I lack all imagination when spitting these things out. or rather have to censor myself.
Klingon tennis. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, Klingon. It would just Klingon tennis would be regular tennis with blood, wouldn't it? It would just be like tennis with throwing knives.
Tennis with the head of an enemy would be my guess.
Okay. So a few new people have come in very briefly just to bring everybody up to snuff. Welcome, by the way. Hello.
Yes, hello.
We're playing. And can you guys see the chat on the right side of your screen, by the way?
I think so.
I think Richard's the only one who said anything so far, but as we get going, people will weigh in, so you can interact with them. And
I can see it. I cannot participate in it.
You what?
It doesn't look like I can
see
type in it either.
That's fine, but you can talk, so you're good. Anyway, for people that are coming in, we're playing a variant of Mary Bob Kill. Only we're doing red shirt, first officer, holodeck buddy. In terms of the list of people I've come up with, Howdy Celciusi? I'm going to call him Celsius. Howdy, Celsius. Okay, so next. Oh, hold on. I'm going to do it too. I'm going to go with.
Celsius.
I'm going to go with Kirk as my first officer, and Rio as my holodeck buddy, because Rio has a ton of hologram characters already modeled after him, so I'm sure he knows like good holodeck etiquette. And Tom Paris, just because I'm less enthused about him, he's the most expendable of the three guys.
Don't you think
you put him in there on purpose because you wanted to kill him?
This isn't even a sexual fantasy, Nick. It's just a murder fantasy. All of these are me thinking about who I could kill.
Just because you wanted
did you say, Jennings?
Off real.
Jennings, what did you say?
Oh, I just said, don't you think it's very likely that you're going to die in an away mission if Kirk is your first officer?
Ooh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Oh, get out of here. He's the man.
All right. So next group for you, we're going to do. I assume this factored into casting, so I'm not trying to be a cad here, but there were clearly some very attractive people in the Star Trek franchise. So three of the ones that sprung to mind. We're going to go with Jadzia Dax, 7 of 9, and T'Pol from Enterprise. So first officer, holodeck buddy, and red shirt. Jennings, to you.
First officer, Jadzia Dax.
Yeah.
Holodeck buddy. Holodeck buddy is going to be 7 of 9, and so that by default makes T'Pol red shirt.
Same here. That is my exact same thing. I would Jadzia Dax is my all-time Star Trek crush. I will make her first officer or wife. Either one of those things is fine. I'll commit to that right now. But yeah, T'Pol, I was just never really super enthused with her. Granted, I never super got into Enterprise either, so maybe the character becomes a lot better. But I have less of an emotional connection than I do with 7 of 9.
Yeah.
Nick, how about you?
I would say 7 of 9 for the first officer, Dax for the holodeck, but I would still go red shirt for T'Pol.
How come 7 of 9 is first officer?
I just feels like she could take care of more business if she needed to.
Yeah, I would
rather have her. I'd rather have her in charge of other people. Not me personally, but maybe other people. But she is probably able to control a little bit more, and I trust her more on like when she takes over the deck when I'm off gallivanting.
Yeah, I think we've realized from Picard that 7 of 9 is capable of murdering lots of people at once. If you need somebody that can just rapidly kill people, 7 of 9 does have Jadzia Dax beat. Jadzia Dax, really good scientist, really good, I think good first officer material because she's very sound in her thinking. 7 of 9, a lot of anger and a lot of guns. So if you're doing a guns blazing situation, I think 7 of 9.
Yeah, I'm the captain.
Right.
Then yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So next, we're going to go Borg Villains. So your options are Locutus, the Borg Queen, and Lore.
Ooh.
Well, I think you got to go. Whoever wants to go first. Heaton, why don't you go first this time since we?
Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to go with Lore as my holodeck buddy. I'm assuming that in all of these scenarios, I'm going to be murdered. I think in all of these situations, I die. And so the only real factor that you can consider is just who's the most fun to hang out with in the holodeck before they kill you. And I feel like Lore would be a hoot. I think Lore would be the guy that Lore is the guy that organizes a super fun bachelor party for you. and then sells you to white slave traders at the end of it. Like, that's Lore's personality type of like fun, happy to hang out with you, kind of bored, gonna murder you now. Like very much a fun sociopath character. Maybe the Borg Queen would be good in that. Like she, it maybe, but I don't know. I'm thinking Borg Queen. I'm going to go first officer because at the very least she's at least consciously directing thought. Whereas Locutus is Locutus is just a Stentorian drone, right? He's just a drone with a better persona to him than the other drones.
Interesting.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Nick?
I would say also I agree with Jennings. Interesting. Wrong, but interesting.
Like I will consult the Star Trek after this to let us find out what the real answers were. Since these are clearly not simple.
I like Locutus personally. I mean, obviously, have him be your first officer, and just yes, he is Locutus. Yes, he's gonna like be Borg, but he could still say engage, probably as cool as anybody, and that's what I would have him do every time I'd start a mission. That's all I need. Borg Queen first, she'd be the holodeck buddy. Red shirt Lore in a heartbeat. In one heartbeat. I hate Lore. Terrible character. Red shirt all the way. 100%. I mean, I'll kill him myself. In fact, I'll put him in his shirt and then shoot him. I won't even let him put the shirt on. I'll just shoot him first. Get him out of there.
Upshot to the Borg Queen is that even though she's got like, cyborg parts and zombie skin, somehow weirdly sexy and clearly up to seducing you. Like seduction is at least a part of the game for her in a way that I don't think it would be for Lore or Locutus. I don't see myself getting any fun seduction.
It feels like you could have some sort of conversation with her. Or things in certainly like a holodeck situation where you'd be able to like it would be kind of like I could very easily see Next Generation scenes where you're in the holodeck with her, like riding horses and talking about what the Borg's plans are for the future or some shit.
Right, as she figures out how to trap you in the holodeck. And
exactly.
All the same, though, still better company. Jennings, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna agree that Lore is red shirt material. Got to get rid of him the first. I'm thinking that Locutus would.
Oh, you guys realize Lore is just like evil universe Data, right?
Yeah.
He's just Dark Mirror Data.
Yeah. 100%.
I just want to be clear on that.
For the record, I like Lore as a character, but if I'm stuck with him, he's got to go first. Because he's probably the least susceptible of those three. Like he's the hardest to kill. I would think so. I mean, granted, Phaser's going to take any of them out if you get it on the first shot. But like anything short of a Phaser, Lore is fast, presumably way faster than the Borg Queen or Locutus, and super strong. So yeah, he's got to go. I will not only send him out the airlock, but I will then fire the ship's phasers on him and melt him immediately.
Good. All right.
And then apparently I need to make sure that his memory engrams are destroyed also.
Jennings, I would totally watch that Star Trek episode. If nothing else, I would watch that Star Trek episode for the very awkward silence the bridge crew has after you phaser a human body with a ship. Like, that's going to be this moment of everyone's like, okay, that was like a slight amount of overkill. To like, that's the equivalent of like nuking a kitten.
Yeah, right.
Or I guess a wasp, since kittens are cute, right? Okay, all right.
Well, so then he would be my red shirt. I think that Locutus would actually be my holodeck buddy, and the reason is I would spend a lot of time in Nick's the sort of 30s or 40s bar.
Oh yeah,
us shooting him with a machine gun. But the safety protocols would be on, so it wouldn't kill him. It would just be fun.
Okay.
And then I would go with the Borg Queen as my first officer, with the caveat that I'm aware that I'm going to need to like dig up some dirt on her or something.
Yeah,
just
she'll
have
take
something
over in a minute.
In a minute, exactly.
I also feel like the Borg Queen is a human resources nightmare, like an HR nightmare. I feel like she's going to be the most in trouble in terms of like the Borg Queen is like the assistant manager at the store who's like, "Hey, it's 3 p.m. Want to do shots of tequila?" Like, she don't give a shit.
She's planning on killing you anyway. So I think she's going to be interesting. By the way,
she's not going to kill you. She's not going to kill you. Worst case scenario, you get assimilated.
That's true. Good point.
You might even get something fun out of it beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. Chap CL1 says Borg Queen and Holodeck, similar motions to 7. If you're going to die, die in style. I concur. And if you're chatting, feel free, by the way, to type out your combo of who you would do it. You guys are all participating in this as well. Because apparently I'm chat on this one because I'm going in as a pessimist, just assuming I'm going to die and hoping to have much fun. All right, so next one, we'll go back to the realm of the good. We're going to go with some doctors here. First officer, Holodeck Buddy, red shirt. The EMH, McCoy, and Beverly Crusher.
God, I love McCoy.
This is tough, by the way, because I really like all these characters. I don't want to sentence any like Paris was expendable. I was okay dropping Paris off on the planet and just leaving and going, "You're free." Goodbye.
I can start this one if you want. I'm gonna dump Beverly. She's gonna be my red shirt. McCoy's gonna be my first officer, and the EMH is gonna be my holodeck buddy.
Okay. Now my guess is this is because he is a hologram, and you're assuming you'll get some inside access.
Not at all.
Okay.
No. I want him as my holodeck buddy because he's very artistic. He likes music and art and things like that. He was always trying to kind of give himself a little bit more class, and so I think he'd probably be pretty interesting in a holodeck scenario.
Okay.
I'm big a fan of Beverly Crusher, which is
you are or not.
I'm not. It's not my favorite doctor. And
you like her more or less than Pulaski because somebody just brought her up.
Oh, I like her more than Pulaski. Yeah, but
nobody likes Pulaski. I don't hate Pulaski. I don't have like the white hot hatred that a lot of Star Trek fans have for her, but I don't really miss her as a character.
Yeah, that's all about how I feel about her too. She was. I'm glad she was there for a season. But then
put her in here, you coward.
What that?
Pulaski in one of these, you cowards.
We all know Pulaski.
We can add Pulaski to this. She could either be an additional holodeck buddy or an additional red shirt. What do you do with her?
She'd be a red shirt.
She's okay. Yeah. So everybody agrees. Pulaski. We don't want to actively kill her, but she's probably going to be a red shirt out of this equation.
Right. And then I would do
your holodeck buddy because he's a cultured, interesting individual.
Right.
Don't really care for Beverly Crusher, so she's red shirt, and you're doing Bones because first officer. Okay, Nick, how about
Bones is first officer because Bones basically performed a function as a first officer in a lot of senses. I mean, he was always giving Jim good advice.
He's moral epicenter, and he's playing the best friend role of like he's the one. Damn it, Jim, come have a drink and we'll talk about this.
If you think about it that way, like Spock and McCoy they kind of form a whole first officer together. And I think that, so I would go with McCoy.
Real quick, tip of the hat to John, who is now joining us in the chat room. John came up with this game that I have stolen. So John, thank you for not only joining us, but being so gracious and know that, John, I am fully intended to draft you into this next week when we keep this going. So I'm glad that you're here, that you're excited about it. Nick, how about you? Who would you pick? Red shirt, first officer, holodeck buddy between Bones, the EMH, and Beverly Crusher.
EMH. Bones, but I think I would have McCoy as my holodeck buddy. I would just go on adventures with McCoy. I think we'd have a good time, and we could have those same things where I'm talking out stuff with him. All that can be done in a holodeck when we're also shooting zombies or whatever the hell
on the bridge where it's so boring, right?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
You have the EMH, and then that can kind of be everywhere, right? So you can kind of have the EMH at your beck and call within seconds, as opposed to Bones is on the planet somewhere. And then Crusher's a red shirt and a heartbeat, but I don't dislike.
Where was all this?
She's just not my favorite doctor.
Okay.
I dislike every member of the Crusher family. There are never worse Next Generation episodes than the ones that center around the Crushers. I'm sorry, but it's a fact. I don't love the Worf episodes either. Yeah.
Sorry, Jennings, I lost you there. What did you say?
I said she's mostly, in my opinion, she's mostly a red shirt just because of the episode Sub Rosa.
Which one's Sub Rosa? What happens there?
In the last season where she falls in love with the ghost.
Oh, right. I forgot about
Terrible,
that.
but every episodes where they are the center of attention is just. I hope
you know what? John brings up a really good point here that the EMH
Wesley on one of these.
The EMH set up a hollow brothel for a Vulcan during Ponfar. That is further evidence to Jennings that he would be a solid holodeck buddy. Like you brought up Paris earlier, that he could, he'll make you like a cool novel. That's right. The EMH can go for Putin apparently. Well,
I guess also you'd be concerned because the EMH can't leave the ship, right?
See, well, that's why I'm going to make him my red shirt because I feel like I'm living in the field.
Oh, that's true.
Well, Jennings, were you pointing out that he has a mobile transmitter in later seasons? Well done, sir.
Yeah.
Well done, sir. Yeah, he does. Not only that, he also impregnates a woman in the finale. There's that. By the way, they don't show the impregnation. The conception itself is not on camera.
I don't remember that being a case. He was married to a woman. I don't think
He was married to a woman, and he had a daughter. And they bring up the fact that they have a daughter, and they're like adopted. And they're like, nope, it's his daughter. They never explain how. I
think you've got that wrong, Heaton. I don't think that's true. The daughter was Tom and B'Elanna.
I'm pretty sure that his wife
had trouble conceiving.
Huh?
Tom and B'Elanna had trouble conceiving.
Yeah. Okay. I stand by. I'm fairly confident the doctor had like a pregnant wife.
We have to do another $40 bet.
Maybe. Yeah. We might have to do this. Although this
is this part of the game.
I'll do it. Jennings, I'll bet you $5 that there's reference to pregnancy and he is responsible for it.
You are on.
Funky Mo 109 says Heaton, your fanfic doesn't count. Damn it. Because I have a good 6.5 volumes
why are we doing any of
this? 50 Shades of Doc, where he is just plowing through other members of the crew. Good point. Yeah, I'm going to go with the EMH as my red shirt because at least through most of Voyager, he would be delighted to get the fresh air and go down to a planet. And I also suspect that he's probably fairly resilient because as long as they don't hit the transmitter, and even if they do, maybe there's a backup. I don't know. He seems like he's less likely to die.
There is no backup. They that's canon. There's no backup.
There's no backup. Okay. All right. Well, so as long as he holds the transmitter, doesn't stop. It's like when you're cheating at laser tag and you're right. Screw you, 12-year-old kids. As a side note, by the way, Jennings, I think I told you this when I was up in New Hampshire. I played laser tag with Josie, who's been on the program before. And at one point, we're dominating. We're just laying waste to all of these parents and their kids that are playing laser tag with us. And afterwards, this 10-year-old kid comes up and he's like, you should have held back. And I just went, take it to the Hague, kid. And walked away. All right, so I'm going to go with Bones as first officer for the same reasons you elucidated, Jennings. I agree with your analysis there. I like Beverly Crusher. I'm going to keep her as my holodeck buddy. I think she'd be fun to hang out with. Also, I have a thing for redheads, which could factor into that. But I like her as a character too. Welcome Squid's Mixtape and other people. I think a few people have jumped on very quickly. We're playing a variant of Mary Bob Kill developed by John of Trek Profiles called First Officer Red Shirt Holodeck Buddy. And we're going through various combinations to see how they all play out. And you are very welcome to join in on the chat with who you would have in these various situations. So I'll move on to the next one. We're going to go with Vulcans. Spock, Tuvok, Sarek. First officer, holodeck buddy, red shirt. I'll jump in on this one. I think I'm going to go with Sarek for red shirt. Here's why. Terrible father. And I feel like if anybody can talk their way out of a gunfight, probably the ambassador. So, we're putting a good foot forward by putting the ambassador out there. Definitely Spock for first officer, 100%. And I feel like Tuvok would be. None of these people are going to be fun on a holodeck. They're all going to be very boring in a holodeck. They're going to want to read books. Unless it's Ponfar. But I think Tuvok marginally would be more fun than Sarek in a holodeck environment. I don't know. Jennings, what do you think? What do you got?
I'm going to agree with you on Tuvok for the holodeck, but for a different reason. Tuvok being a security officer, you could very easily make his job in the holodeck. Hey, stand at the door, and if anybody comes in, let me know real quick.
He's your perv guard. He's the equivalent of you drawing down the blinds as you go on to some weird technical website. That's what you want Tuvok for.
Look, you can lie to yourself all you want. We all know what we're going to do on holodeck.
Right. That's basically, I think what would happen to the holodeck is I would hang out with Moriarty for like a good 15 minutes and be like, I get it. You're very intelligent. Where is the Spring Break Gone Wild module for this? Can I just pop into that? And then I'll come back and talk to you a little bit. So, yeah, fair enough. I like where your head's at, Jennings. Okay. Nick, how about you?
Oh, do you want my other two?
I bet Jennings. Yeah, continue with the rest.
He only picked one.
Yeah. So Tuvok is Holodeck Buddy / perv guard.
Right.
Yes. Tuvok is your incognito tab.
Yes. So and then I would go with Spock as first officer, and that would by default put Sarek as a red shirt. I understand he was a bad father. I think he did sort of redeem himself at the end, though.
Yeah. Okay. How about this? He's not a cuddly father. He's
Also, are we talking super old Sarek? Because then he's out of it. He's probably not going to he's not going to even understand that he's in danger.
Let's go. Let's do sort of the median for Sarek. We're doing like undiscovered country Sarek.
Oh, okay.
So he is an elder statesman Sarek, but he is nowhere near Bindi syndrome. How on earth do I remember what Bindi syndrome is? And I can't remember my own blood type. We're in a pandemic. I don't know what my blood type is, but I know what killed Sarek. That somehow anything I learned prior to 21 remains lodged in my head. Whereas anyway. Nick, how about you?
So I'm gonna say this is just me personally. I like Sarek, but I agree he's like a killjoy, So I would also redshirt easily my first off.
Yeah.
And by default.
You really got the job for one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he would easily be, that's just, I think this is an easy one for me personally.
Cool. Well, then I'll move forward. Let's go to a category
we've all agreed on.
What'd you say, Jennings?
That's the first one we've all agreed on.
That's right. We all picked Spock as our first officer. Okay, well then I'm gonna keep Spock for this next one. This next one, we're gonna go with outsiders as the category, and Spock is one of them, as are Data and Odo. So who do we pick for holodeck first officer and red shirt in this scenario?
All right, I think you're up this time, Heaton.
Am I? Let's see.
I think so too, yeah.
Odo, Spock, Data. I'm going to go with Odo for red shirt. Because I feel like he is certainly the most versatile of these characters. He can, at the very least, he can like stretch out or turn into a gas or something. So he's less likely to die, and I like Odo. I'm not rooting for the death of any of these characters. Spock, I'm going to maintain for first officer, not so much because I feel like he would be that much better than Data as a first officer, because Data would be vastly more entertaining in a holodeck. How do I know this? The fact that Data likes cosplay. Data enjoys dressing up like Sherlock Holmes. I don't see Spock doing that. I see Spock coming in and like talking about temperature control. Spock wouldn't get into the spirit of it. Data wouldn't be able to get into the spirit of it, but he'd try. And I think he'd be more fun in that regard.
To be honest, I think I agree completely. I wanted to disagree. I wanted to have a different opinion on it. But damn it, Heaton, you got me.
Richard says Data for holodeck, Spock for porn guard. I feel like Spock is like going to be the character I'm most bothered by on the ship to know my porn preference. He's the one that is going to most bother me in terms of judgment. Like Bones would be like, it's important. It's important to clear the pipes. Like Bones is going to be kind of cool about it. Like, you don't want to talk to him. It's creepy and weird. Like he gets it. Whereas Spock, like, it kind of bothered me.
Well, yeah. Spock, it's going to be as soon as you decide to lay in a route for a certain planet, he's going to look at you because he knows that's why you're going there, and he's going to give you one of these at the end of the episode, and that's how it's going to end.
Yeah. Jennings, how about you? Do you agree with my assessment? You want to go with a different combo?
I want to go with a slightly different combo. Odo. It was Odo, Spock, and I'm sorry, the third one was
Odo, Spock, and Data.
Data, right? Okay. I'm going to go with Data as my first officer. Because
sorry, we're on Spock real quick. John points out whenever you go to porn, Spock will just say fascinating, and it will crush you a little bit.
I'm going to go with Data as first officer. Not only because I think he'd be a good first officer, but also because he can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so if I decided I don't really want to do anything for a while.
so you're this one's based less on survival and more, you're presuming you're going to be a lazy captain.
Yes.
You want to have the ability to just be in the holodeck, but still get that sweet, sweet hazard pay from Starfleet.
Exactly. And so then I'm going to throw, this is sacrilegious, but I'm going to say that Spock's got to be my red shirt.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think, for two reasons.
You see how big Nick's eyes got? They got real big.
Yeah, for two reasons.
He's got expressive big eyes too.
And again, I have a reason. It's going to be all right.
Okay.
One,
it won't be.
Let's admit he's a killjoy, but more importantly, no, if he gets killed, he's going to come back in the next movie. It's going to be fine. Okay.
You know what? The facts are on your side. He has come back from the dead.
He has. Yeah. And then finally, Odo, because he can shapeshift into a second holodeck door, so that the first one, I have time to,
Wait. So Odo's going to be a false door, so that like when people come in, that they're like, oh man, what's Jennings up to? It's like, well, let's go through that door. Meanwhile, Jennings is just frantically closing, like, shut it down. I was on Google. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Great. That makes sense. Okay. So next category, I'm curious to see how you guys play this because I don't know what I'm going to call this minor crew category. Chekhov, Harry Kim, and I didn't keep in the other one. Who's a random guy from let's say like TNG or
Oh, I just said Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, let's go with Ian Malcolm. Yeah, is he security or is he Ian Malcolm? I can't remember.
Not Ian Malcolm. Malcolm Reynolds. No, not Malcolm Reynolds either.
The British guy.
Character's name.
Malcolm the British guy in Enterprise.
Yeah, Malcolm the British guy. That guy.
Malcolm the British guy. Yeah. Clearly, we're all very big Enterprise fans here.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So Malcolm, who I think he was security, was he not?
I think so. They're all red shirts for me. No.
So Harry Kim, Malcolm the Brit, and Chekhov.
Yeah.
I'll go. You know what? I'll go with Malcolm the Brit is the first officer. Just by qua security, I feel like he's already been a department head, so he'll be able to do paperwork reasonably well. Not going to get skittish if there's some kind of firefight. And Harry Kim and Chekhov. You know what? This sounds horrible. I'm gonna make Harry Kim my holodeck buddy. Chekhov, I gotta say, of the characters that exercise comedic timing in the series, Chekhov is one of the worst. He has not good comedic timing, and I think that's going to really
basing this off of.
Yeah,
exactly.
If I'm going to be having a fun romp in the holodeck, I don't want Chekhov making puns or weird Chekhov Smirnoff jokes. So yeah, I'm going to Chekhov bites it. Sorry.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm put Chekhov as my holiday great time. I would, Harry Kim would be my. Harry Kim would be my red shirt. Pardon me, and Malcolm I would have as my first officer. I agree with you, Heaton. I feel like he's got at least some, he's British. That's fun, and also he just sounds responsible, which is what I'm going for there. In that role, I'll take care of everything. I just want someone to over here next to me. You know what I mean?
Real quick,
Chekhov and I would have a blast on the holodeck.
A couple of comments from the board. Someone has asked me to quit saying qua because apparently I've been relying heavily on that. I buy that. I have words that cycle through my vocabulary that I get really hung up on. Apologies. Someone else pointed out that I am in fact wearing a tie, but I'm also wearing a hoodie because I'm casual now. And from the waist down, I am wearing a teddy. Okay.
You're wearing something from the waist down?
Huh? Yeah.
Well, we had an agreement about this.
Yeah, that's you guys don't have to put on pants. Don't worry. And certainly no one that's participating in this in the chat room is in any way wearing pants. Okay.
Qua your previous order. I didn't say anything about us using it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
okay.
true. We can quad up.
Yeah, that's right.
Apparently, Teague is completely naked. So he's not like, which I think probably took effort on his part. He probably stripped down for the program. All right, I'm going to kick this. We're going to go from minor character to major characters now. First officer, Holodeck Buddy red shirt, Janeway Kirk Picard.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
That is a hard one. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind.
It's not okay. Jennings, take it away then.
Yeah. So Janeway
probably not.
Janeway is going to be my red shirt.
Okay.
Because I think Janeway should have. I think Voyager, as much as I like the show, and I did, Voyager should have been 1-2-part episode where at the end of it she's like, "Oh, no, we're turning around and going back home. These people take care of themselves." And then, not my favorite, not the best captain, probably. Kirk, definitely Holodeck Buddy. I mean, for obvious reasons. And Picard, first officer. However, upon him taking command as first officer, I will immediately relinquish command and become his first officer.
Whoa. Okay. I like it, which also sounds like a heartfelt Star Trek episode.
Yeah.
Somehow
on a very special episode of Star Trek.
You're captain for a solid minute, and then you come out and you're like, "Can you come into the ready room, please?" And then like there's I don't know, you've made a diorama for him on the table or something. And you take one of your pips off, put it down. I like that. Okay, Jennings, I like that a lot. You know what? I'm gonna do all of that except I'm not relinquishing power. I will remain in power, but I agree with you. I for this one, I'm going to key off entirely of just who I think would be the most fun on the holodeck, and I think undisputably Kirk is the most fun on the holodeck. I feel like Picard would either A, just want to hang out in a chateau. That's it, which would be cool enough. It's just us drinking wine in a chateau. No, I do it.
Picard, someone who likes. But you talk about someone who likes. You were talking about Data liking cosplay. I mean, are you kidding me? Half the time he's dressed like he's either what's it called from Nottingham or whatever.
We know he's got like 19th century British regalia fitting the Navy. That's true.
Yep. And Dixon Hill.
If anything, I think you'd learn some stuff. Yeah, Dixon Hill. Oh, that's a great one. You get to just.
It occurs to me as well that he is an enthusiast of Gilbert and Sullivan because in Star Trek Insurrection, he's you know what? I changed mine. I checked because if
I didn't finish mine. Hold on. I didn't finish mine.
Go ahead.
But I want to finish. So I would say you got to go Picard with that. He goes into the holodeck just because he loves the holodeck, and he would have some fun with you. And also, I think Kirk's more willing to just go down to the planet and risk his neck all the time than Picard would be, so that you don't have to.
Certainly, the most competent as an away team member.
He's more willing to actually go out there. He's good at communicating with people. He'd be able to take care of that stuff for you on planets. And then, Janeway would redshirt, and it wouldn't very.
Also, what Nick said there about Picard and Kirk, I think I may change mine because here's the thing: Kirk on the holodeck, probably a cock block.
You're probably not wrong.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, so
solid. Yeah, Jennings,
always getting a small head.
Kirk is definitely the guy at the bar who's like pretending to be a wingman for you, but really just wants to like flex his confidence. And like is like shoving you at people knowing you'll fail so that he can feel that you can see I've experienced this before. I have met Kirk several times in a bar. He is not helpful.
Sorry about that, Heaton. I apologize.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Nick. Nick, you know what? I agree. So, Nick, are you making Kirk or are you making Janeway your first officer?
Anyways, red shirt. Kirk's my first officer because he's willing to go out there and do stuff for you. He would be able to establish communication for you and all that stuff. Whereas Janeway would be a red shirt.
Okay.
And that's my final answer.
Okay. And then I'm going to make Picard my holodeck buddy. Richard makes a good point. He's probably going to want to do Shakespeare. Hard no. We're not doing any Shakespeare, but if he wants to do
love Shakespeare.
Sullivan, which incidentally, when I was at Burning Man this summer, I found a tent occupied by drunk British people, and they were doing Gilbert and Sullivan, and I got to play both the ruler of the Queen's Navy and the Pirate King in Pirates of Penzance, which is unheard of to do both of those characters, but I was the only sober baritone in the room, and so I was able to pull it off. So I'm thinking I'll do that with Picard. And then I'm going to make Kirk my first officer, and I'm going to make the other way. I'm going to make Janeway my first officer. I'm going to make Kirk the red shirt. Kirk just seems like an excellent away team member. He always wanted to beam down to the planet. Janeway's a little bit more administrative. I feel like she'll be able to do the paperwork. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll reprise this again, guys, with some other captains: Cisco, Archer, and Pike.
Cisco comes to the series, and then he's like a captain just when they get the Defiant. He's like, fine. I don't love Cisco. Cisco has a lot of like, he's talking like this. And then he talks a little bit more, randomly cracks up again. You're like, what the hell is this guy doing? He might be a lunatic. We don't know. Red shirt. That's what I say to it. Red shirt.
Series.
Red shirt for Cisco. Okay.
I didn't even hear the other two.
Archer, Captains Archer and Pike.
I don't love Archer either. Okay, well, all right. We'll red shirt Archer, and we'll have Cisco as the holodeck buddy, and Pike will be my first officer of that. But I think I'd rather have Cisco as my first officer, I guess. But then I have to deal with those emotions. It'd probably be more fun in the holodeck, I'll be honest. I think. It depends on what Pike we're talking about. Which Pike are we talking about here? Are we talking about Pike from like the
I was about
Discovery Pike? Or are we talking like OG?
I haven't seen the new Discovery Pike, so I'm thinking of Pike in the Kelvin series or the Kelvin timeline.
Oh, I see.
But we could do new Pike if he's a really great. I'm told he's a great character.
He is a good character.
I think new Pike is a good character. Rather new Pike be my first officer. I would be fine with that.
I'm going to go with Kelvin Pike as my first officer. I'm going to stick up a little bit for Cisco here. I watched the Deep Space Nine documentary.
It's your favorite series. We get it.
Huh?
We get it. We get it. It's your favorite series. Stick up for it. Go ahead. Whatever.
Deep Space Nine is my favorite series, but it's not my favorite characters. I prefer the characters in TNG and TOS. I just think the plots are far better in Deep Space Nine. In the Deep Space Nine documentary, they talked to Michael. It's either Rick Berman or Michael Kleur, but they talked to one of those guys, and he's saying that when he talks to veterans, of which I have very little experience, but he says that when he talks to veterans, they don't say they want like a commanding officer that they're buddies with. They want a commanding officer who keeps them from getting killed. And I feel like Cisco fits that mold very well. Like, I don't really want to hang out with Cisco, but I'm pretty sure that he would be good at keeping people from dying.
You think Cisco's death toll is less than? I
don't think I agree with that either.
Less than Archer. I'm going to go with Archer for the holodeck. I feel like Archer would be like, here's what I'm picturing. I want you to imagine that you got an Oculus Quest and you invited friends over to come check it out. Who of these people is going to be the most excited that A, you called them to hang out, and B, they get to play with a new gizmo? That's Archer. Archer's totally going to be the guy that is like stoked to be coming over to do all of that. So I'm going to go with holodeck for him. I'm going to go with TOS Pike for first officer. I'm going to go with Cisco as red shirt. I think Cisco would comport himself well on the ground, and also is just the least fun.
I would agree with that. That what you just said. I'd rather put Archer in the holodeck and Cisco red shirt.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to say Archer. I'm going to say Archer red shirt. I'm going to say I'm going to
Scott
say
Bakula is dreamy, by the way. I agree with the chat.
Well, here's the
Very
deal.
dreamy.
I get what you're saying about Archer as a holodeck buddy, but what I feel would happen is the moment we walked in the holodeck, Scott Bakula would be like, I don't want to lead anybody else's life. I've done that. And he'd run away. So
there's this horrifying moment where you've solved the puzzle in the Sherlock Holmes series, and he's like, "Why can't we leave?" And it's like, I think we're just stuck here. I think we have to keep jumping in. Yeah. That's funny.
So then, and then I would put Chris Pike, and I'm going Anson Mount, Star Trek Discovery, Chris Pike.
Same, yeah.
The holodeck buddy, because I do think he'd be a lot of fun. And then I would actually make Ben Cisco my first officer, only to grind into his face the fact that he's now a commander again.
There's a lot
instead of a captain.
A lot of Cisco friction.
Cisco's got his moments. He's got some great moments. But
all right,
I agree with Nick.
I'll kick it to the next category. Then we're going to go to empaths. So you've got Deanna Troi, Luana Troi, and I can't think of another Betazoid, but I'm sure that there's another empath we could use. Who would be the third one to put in, do you think?
Maybe Loaxana?
I'm sorry, thank you. Loaxana Troi, yeah.
Another empath?
I know that they've got 2 or 3 in TNG. Oh, how about Soren from or I guess Guinan would work too. So Soren's not an empath.
Empaths?
He's not an empath, but he's got a thing where people feel compelled to talk. There's
Make
like
it
a kind of
Guinan, because I want Guinan as my first officer in a minute. I'm telling you that right now.
Right.
I got Guinan all day as my first officer, and then
that's a pretty
I mean, come on. And then instead of going down your path, I'm going to say Major Barrett as the computer is my holodeck buddy, and Major Barrett as Luxana is redshirted. That's how I'm doing it. That's how I'm making my own rules now. I'm making my own rules. That's how I'm doing it.
You just Kobayashi Maru'd the game.
You sure did. Well done.
Okay. So you've got Major Barrett is both the first officer as like Nurse Chapel, and you've got her as yeah. You could have Major Barrett as all 3 roles in this.
Yeah, no, I want Guinan as my first officer. I'll stick by that. Right. Guinan is my first Barrett as the computer buddy.
Okay.
And do whatever you want and just talk to the computer at the same time, which you could probably do anyway, but still. And then Luxana, gone a little bit too much, you know? She's a little much.
I would have Guinan as the first officer for sure. I agree with that.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And Loxana Troi is...
Who'd you pick as your first officer?
That's right, Parev. I am making the rules.
Guinan? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna break the rule format because this is perfect. Guinan is definitely first officer material. Loxana Troi, throw her out the airlock, and since I seem to be the group perv here.
Wait, hold on! You're gonna throw her out the airlock? You don't like her?
Troi, Loxana.
Yeah. I like that character. I think she's lots of fun.
I won't throw her out the airlock. She's
a handful, but she's fun.
I will beam her down to the planet and of feisty, terrible
he
aliens.
likes older women, and that's fine.
You might bore them. She might like irritate them to the point that they run away. I don't care. That's fine. And then again, as I seem to be the group perv, Deanna Troi is my holodeck buddy for obvious reasons. So
yeah,
I didn't put Deanna Troi in mine because Deanna Troi would not get. I wouldn't even let her get an option. She could go with all the crushers and just stay in a corner somewhere and not participate. How about that?
Nick
killed the best person on that show.
That is my childhood love.
That is my childhood love. Way too soon.
So quickly, for the benefit of Eric and Jim, who are on the chat channel, Jim asked, when do we say bop? How come that hadn't come up yet? Eric is suggesting that perhaps because I'm avoiding the word fuck, it's really less that I'm trying to keep it, like we're kind of keeping it PG. It's less that than just the fact that there's so many different genders and species in this that we're beginning with the premise that under current quarantine conditions, I would have sex with anyone we're talking about. I'm just completely open to all of this. So we're making it more specific to first officer, Holodeck Buddy, and Red Shirt. And that's basically where we're occupying it. But I think it's a good proxy for Mary Bobkill.
Nick, did you just so you dislike Deanna Troi and you love Tasha Yar?
That's right. I said
I'm opposite. Yeah, I'm very much.
Yeah, we know you're the opposite.
I find Deanna to be kind of superfluous, but I like her.
Yeah, not my style. Moving on.
I'm gonna go with Loaxana Troi. Jennings, say that name again. Why am I getting this wrong?
Loaxana?
Loaxana?
Yeah.
I'm going to make her my first officer because I feel like she would whip that ship into shape. Like she brooks like she is like the embodiment
of a week.
Huh?
That's great for a week.
Yeah. I think it would be a tightly everybody would be terrified to step out of line or not do their job. Like the what would eventually happen, I'm aware of this, is I would eventually become a showpiece. She would become the power behind the throne. Unquestionably, I would be the ceremonial monarch of the ship. She would be the prime minister. I'm fine with that because I am hanging out with her daughter in the holodeck. So no problem there.
Here, I'm gonna
make Guinan your red shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have
nothing against Guinan. Huh?
I want to comment to the chat real quick. Yes, I know Deanna could sense my hatred, and I'd be fine with it. That's what I want to say. I'd be so fine with it. She would know, and then we'd have a 45 and talk to me and try to make me feel my feelings better. I don't want it. I don't need it. How about that? I got my feelings. I can handle it. I'll talk to Guinan about it. That's how I feel.
All right. Good. I'm liking the empaths one. Okay. We'll run through a couple more of these. Let's do a villains one. I don't think we did the Borg villains a while back. Let's do a super villains one. So we're going to do Q, Trelane, and the Telosians, or a Telosian.
Do you think, by the way, would you agree with the possibility that Trelane was a young Q?
Well, there's a book to that effect.
That's right. John Delancey wrote it, right?
He might have. I don't remember if he wrote it or if he co-wrote it, but that definitely is the premise of one of the books where Trelane is in fact Q's bastard Q son from the Q continuum, and Q ends up having to kill him. So that makes sense. It would make sense to me that they could comport. I mean, like if we can understand the Q continuum in Voyager as the antebellum South, I see no reason that Trelane couldn't be some manifestation of that. And they seem to me to be pretty much in the same category. They're both like kind of petty, omniscient characters.
Yeah.
Pereb00 wants to clarify, John Delancey did not write Q Squared, but it is a great book and haunting. I agree.
Oh. What thank you. So it was Q, Trelane, and who was the third one?
A Telosian.
A Telosian. Okay. All right. Ooh, that's
which is sort of like an organic mobile holodeck.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say Telosian should probably be the holodeck buddy because their goal is to make you happy
and keep you in a cage.
And to keep you in a cage, but to not so that you don't know that you're in a cage.
Yeah.
If I don't know it.
Which, if you think holodeck anyway, what's that?
Yeah. I said if I don't know it.
Well, this is interesting because so Pereb brings up Pereb says don't send Q to the holodeck. He can already create everything for real. But all three of these characters can basically do that. They can all create stuff out of thin air, either in your mind or in wild card. Yeah, I'm with Squid's mixtape wild card. I'm totally going to go with Q for the holodeck. I feel like Trelane is all right. Q is this guy. Q is the guy where you're on a road trip and you swing by some tiny little postmark-sized town, and you're like, oh, I guess we're stuck here for the night. What a boring place. Q is the guy who pulls out his phone and he's like, but did you know they've got an actual live tiger in a cage over at Smokey Joe's? Let's fucking go there. That's Q. Q's going to be the one that finds the cool shit to do, and he's had plenty of experience as an immortal, omniscient being, or, however we phrase that. I think he's going to be the most fun. Trelane, I feel like, would be, because he's so young and immature, Trelane is the guy who's like response to everything would basically just be, let's do cocaine. Like that would be his thing. And eventually like, I'm bored with this. And so I would Q definitely for the holodeck. I'm going to go with the Telosian for the first officer, just because I think the Telosian would be better at paperwork. And I'm going to put Trelane in the red shirt situation.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I'd go. I'm
going to say I agree with putting. See, but that's the thing, Heaton. He's the kind of buddy that's just going to be like, Trelane's just going to be like, hey, you want to just go do some coke real quick? That's why you can leave him and you can go back to the holodeck whenever you're feeling it, whenever you just want to hang out and like go to Trelane and just have a good time. And then you're like, I'm out of here. And then I'd have to redshirt Q. He'd be fine, obviously, he'd never die, but he's so much of a wild card.
Trelane is basically like a bachelor party in a bottle. He's like the
exactly.
He's the Amsterdam Coke and strip club guy that you can play with, but then you're like, I'm done with this. I'm going back.
That's why I put him.
I want to be in bed by midnight, like that kind of thing.
You put him in the holodeck because Q is gonna just do whatever he wants, no matter what, all the time anyway. And so it's just one of those things where you kind of need him out of the picture, or else it's always just gonna happen with Q, and not the best way.
I have to point out really quickly, Eric the Pipe says he's got a little evening Coke. I like that.
Evening Coke. Yeah, just evening Coke. Because that's you could choose.
Wait. So did Jennings? Did you throw out yours?
I just agreed with yours.
Agreed with yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we're going to go the nice guys category. The nice guys category is Captain Archer, Reginald Barclay, and Miles O'Brien.
That's easy.
Okay, take it away, Jim.
I think that is kind of easy.
Yeah. So Barclay is going to be my holodeck guy. Again, obvious reasons.
A lot of experience, and probably like once you get past the like embarrassment of displaying what you're pervy about, because that will be like a weird minute where you're like, hey, Barclay, you ever thought about what it'd be like to hang out with 60 Deanna Troys on a beach? And he's like, I have 80 times or something like that. Once you get to that, like
pre-made programs, man.
Basically, I think like four shots of tequila in, you guys are going to open up your imaginations to one another and really have like a fascinating time. So I agree. I think Barclay would be a lot of fun at the holodeck, and clearly the most experienced.
And then I don't remember that. When did Barclay invent a mini Riker?
I think that's the first episode with Barclay.
Because he was bigger than him and he could beat him up and Riker was just a little. Yeah.
Barclay's passive aggressive and kind of a coward.
Whatever you want, man.
All of his fantasies through the holodeck, and I feel like, does he get in trouble for it? I can't remember what the problem is.
He gets embarrassed for it. Like Deanna finds out that he's making sweet love to her.
I'm actually when I redshirt Archer and O'Brien. I love O'Brien. He'd be my first officer any day. Big fan.
Yeah, heartbeat. O'Brien would make a great first.
Definitely.
Even though he's not an officer,
but I'm gonna disagree with you. I like Miles O'Brien, but he's a chief petty officer. He's he's not supposed to be an officer. Archer's commanded a starship before.
So
I feel like Archer could be like a good.
Even a janitor can be an acting captain. Heaton.
Fuck.
Nah, I'm going to stick with Archer. Archer's going to be my first officer. I'm with you.
Always
Miles down to the planet. Plus, here's the other thing.
Disagree.
Miles got to be a red shirt, not Barclay.
No, because Barclay's going to be the perv to hang out with. Wait, hold on. Let me think about this. You know what? Maybe Miles would be better for me because
I would actually Archer.
You know what? Actually, okay. I'm gonna go with Miles O'Brien for my holodeck buddy because I feel like Miles O'Brien would be like the equivalent of like if you can think of like a really engrossing video game that's going to take like a day and a half, and you're going to play that. I feel like Miles O'Brien will do that with you. We know that because in Deep Space Nine, he's like doing Viking stuff with Julian, right? So he's gonna that's going to be particularly during quarantine where we got time to kill. Miles is going to be really good about that. Of like we should totally play. First Empire. Well, I don't know whatever the game is.
He's going to do the Alamo, or he's going to give you realistic like wartime battle scenes from the Cardassian War.
Yeah.
I mean, he was there. He fought.
Okay, you know what? So Barclay is the red shirt, and Archer as the first officer, and Miles O'Brien as the holodeck buddy.
There you go.
All right.
I still think he'd make a better first officer, but I hear what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. How about? Great. Well, then on that note, then Nick, let's kick it back to villains because I want to see how you respond to this. I thought of you specifically when I wrote this question. The villains that you were choosing from are Charlie X, Moriarty, and Khan.
Ooh,
I love Khan.
You're a big Khan fan, aren't you, Nick?
I love Khan. I think he's the best character in the whole series.
Right.
Yeah,
I do sure do love that Benedict Cumberbatch.
Hey, I don't even hate his version. I'll be honest. No, it doesn't. It doesn't hold a candle to Ricardo.
Yeah,
of course.
Montalban.
Ricardo Montalban is clearly the superior Khan. I agree.
Yes, I agree. He's superior.
Yeah.
I don't like of how it was written in the storyline, but I don't think he did a bad job. Okay, so then I would redshirt Charlie X, and I would have Moriarty obviously as my holodeck buddy. That's obvious. And Khan would be my first officer. Yeah, Khan's my first officer. I would love to have Khan as my first officer. Not only is he superior in strength, he's going to be able to protect me in that way. He's going to be willing to go down to the planet. He's really smooth when he needs to be and can talk as much as he needs to and everything. Same thing I have with Kirk. You know, he's just basically anti-Kirk. He can go down to the planet and handle all that. And he's willing to come up there and kind of just be your guy behind the sky. I'm all for Khan.
What I think would happen
with this, I want to disagree with this for two reasons. One, you know he's going to kill you, so he can be captain. And two,
he might try to.
The last time he went down,
the only
planet, it didn't work out too well for him.
The last time what?
The last time he went down to a planet, it didn't work out too well for him. He might not be that willing.
He was sent there, and it did work out for him. He made it back. And he almost won. Yeah.
I think I think that if Khan is your first officer,
that's the word you're looking for. Resourceful. Yeah.
He is that for sure.
If Khan is your first officer, Nick, I think the whole series becomes Breaking Bad in space. Khan convinces you to use the Enterprise as a drug running operation, and you become very wealthy, very deadly drug lords operating a front as a Starfleet vessel. That is and then eventually he does kill you.
Yeah, I'm the man who knocks until he decides that he wants to be.
Yeah. I would. So I think we all put Charlie X on as red shirt, right? We want to get rid of him, and hope he gets nailed when he gets down to the planet service. I'm going to go. Yeah, I think Moriarty would potentially trap you in the holodeck, but I do feel like he'd be a good conversationalist. Moriarty's my favorite TNG villain. Probably, I'd say my two favorite Star Trek villains are Gul Dukat, followed by Moriarty. And Moriarty is a really well-developed character, even though they're kind of borrowing it from Sherlock Holmes. I feel like I really like him in every episode.
Kind of borrowing it.
He's likely to kill you.
Directly from Sherlock Holmes.
Let me rephrase it. Yes, they did wholesale steal the character from Alexander Conan Doyle, but they did a good job with it.
But I think he's unlikely to kill you too. He'll toy with you a lot.
Yeah,
but it doesn't seem like he would kill you, so that's good.
Yeah, I feel like I read this great article a few years ago that was explaining the difference between an arch enemy and an arch nemesis. The arch. They're both fighting you, but the arch nemesis would go to your funeral if you died. The arch nemesis has a certain level of respect for you. Probably doesn't. The arch nemesis wants to defeat you, but doesn't want to kill you. The arch enemy just wants you to die. I feel like Moriarty is the arch nemesis category. He does want to defeat you, but there's not a sadistic element there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Richard makes a very good point here. Moriarty's lawful evil. Khan is chaotic evil. So you don't know exactly what's going to happen on his under his watch. Yeah, good point.
Squid's mixtape did say Ricardo Montalban Khan in the holodeck, and that would be pretty intense.
It would be
all the time.
He'd be regardless, it would be you wouldn't get bored, and you would be captivated pretty much the entire time. Yeah.
And you may
Today,
not.
we're going to learn to lay bricks.
We will take a remote class. Yeah. Okay, we'll run through a few more of these. Engineers.
Yes.
Engineers, okay.
We're going to go Scotty, Geordi, and B'Elanna Torres.
Ooh.
I'm going to start out on this one. Scotty, I'm going to go with first officer. Scotty eventually becomes a captain. He's been around the block a few times. We're assuming this is probably Scotty. No, I don't mean like sexually, although yes.
That's not what I meant. I was looking at you because just I'm captain because he needs to somehow have the right officer. That's the only thing you go by is who had on the show to be a person.
Yes, that is a good point. That is a good point. However, in much the same way, I would just prefer to hang out with Scotty long term with all of these people. Scotty is, if we're doing Mary Bob Kill, Scotty's the Mary. Scotty is the one that is the long term relationship I strive to have. I'm going to make B'Elanna Torres the holodeck buddy. And hold on, wait a minute. Gosh, I see. I'm not a huge Geordi fan, but I do feel like he'd probably have have had holodeck experience, right? Didn't he like fall in love with the holodeck character at one point?
I mean, he was in a lot.
He did a holodeck character of a real person.
Yeah, you know what? All the same, I'm going to use Eric. Eric makes a good point. I'm going to use B'Elanna Torres for holodeck buddy because one, she's hot, and two, we haven't had any like aggressive holodeck scenarios so far. We've had like the super cool
in your holodeck.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But like for me, most of mine have either been like I've had like cosplay Gilbert and Sullivan with Picard. I've had presumably just a ton of sex, and I've also had with Picard, and I've also had like the buddy like epic romp with Miles O'Brien. B'Elanna Torres would be the one where we're working on our aggression now. Because we're going to go into the holodeck, we're going to have bat lifts. We're just going to kill Gorn for like 3 hours. It's just going to be like really low-level Gorn. We're just decapitating Gorn, seeing how many Gorn we could kill. It'd be good for adrenaline and probably for elevating your testosterone, which I'd need after hanging out with Archer.
It's about. I'm going to go with Torres can go red shirt herself, and I'm going to go with Geordi in the holodeck because he does have the holodeck experience. And I like Geordi, but I also agree that I want to have Scotty around all the time, if possible.
Yeah, Scotty is definitely my
all the time
top pick for all of these things. I love Scotty.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna say B'Elanna red shirt also. And Geordi is actually going to be my first officer, and Scotty my holodeck guy. Scotty and I are going to discover the holodeck at the same time together because he doesn't have experience with that.
True.
Okay.
Good point. Yeah.
And then
keep it list, like the highest level of entertainment they have is 3-dimensional chess and Uhura playing a lute. The entertainment definitely it really makes a jump forward in TNG.
Exactly. And then with Geordi, I mean, Geordi would no longer have to run the stairs back and forth between engineering and the bridge. He'd just be there on the bridge and solve the problem like that episode.
So you're going to select Geordi based on eliminating commuter time.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Nice. I second everybody. I think Scotty would be fun for everything. I'm going to keep him first officer though. I feel like I get to hang out with Scotty the most if he's a first officer, which is
you're
my
going to not want to be in holodeck all the time, and you're in
right, and presumably you have limited access to the holodeck. Yeah, presumably it's like any other. They appear to have holodeck rationing in both TNG and Deep Space Nine.
4 holodecks.
Yeah.
For a big crew, so you're doing this like once a week, once a month.
I'm gonna as captain, I would have the holodeck or a holodeck installed on the captain's yacht. Since I have Data as my first officer running everything all the time, I can take as much time as I want.
And since I've got Loaxana Troy as my first officer, I feel like she's going to be pushing me into the holodeck constantly to get me out of the way so she can run the ship. Okay, we're going to key off of B'Elanna Troy. I'm sorry, not B'Elanna Troy, which would be a wacky mix-up episode involving a holodeck in two different series.
We're a very, very never mind. Go ahead.
We're a different kind. We're going to go with Klingons. We've got B'Elanna Torres, Martok, and Worf.
Ooh. 1 second.
Worf's my first officer.
Why is he your first officer?
I like, well, now I'm kind of debating it because Torres would be, in this case, Torres would be my holodeck buddy.
Mm-hmm.
But quite frankly, I feel like he's the most amongst anybody.
Okay.
He's always just, that's the
He
thing
does
about work.
like
He
him
doesn't
some
take
work.
time off. He just gets in some work. And that's what I need in a friend to go. He's not great at talking to people. That is normally one of my main things with, I mean, he could talk to his own people fairly well. He gets out of murder or like getting killed, I think, once or twice. And trying, he gets maybe handle. No, those are my picks. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, wait, hold on. So you work first officer. B'Elanna Torres was what? Holodeck buddy?
Holodeck.
And Martok's red shirt. Okay. Jennings, how about you?
Yeah.
I'm actually I'm gonna go with Martok as my first officer.
Okay.
I think he's experienced. I mean, he's running an entire empire.
Yeah, that's true. He winds up chancellor, doesn't it?
And it's all about order.
He does.
And what he can
In
do.
a very weird succession ritual, Deep Space Nine, where apparently if you kill the Klingon chancellor, you become chancellor, which that is not a good way to run a country, in my opinion.
Well, but I would go with him for first officer, and then I would make B'Elanna Torres the red shirt again, and I think I would actually go with Worf for my holodeck buddy because. Like Worf in the holodeck, I know a lot of people hate it. I really like the episode of Fistful of Datas. I would be cool with
Is that the one where they go to the Old West? I don't know that I've seen that one.
Oh, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it really campy and cheesy, and it kind of is a little bit, but it's a fun episode. And Worf
but the one
is
where
the
Q sends them to Nottingham is just as fucking cheesy, if it's not worse.
yeah. So, but I think I like Worf's constant gruffness. I think would.
Did you mean
I
to
think
say
it would be fun
gruffness
to-
and then have some gruffness in your voice?
Yeah.
His gruff.
Yes. Yeah. I am Klingon. I do not. Yeah.
Good. That was really good.
Thanks.
Not a bad word.
If we end up, here's 6 months of quarantine from now, when we decide we're going to start putting on plays, I feel like you could definitely do Klingon Shakespeare, Jennings. You would.
All I can say in his voice is I am Klingon.
Richard makes a good point. If you're looking, Jennings, if you're looking for your porn guard, I feel like Worf would be an excellent porn guard. Ain't nobody getting in there. He's not
That is
everybody.
a really
He'll
good
definitely
point.
be a good guard.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm gonna go with B'Elanna Torres as first officer. I don't know. I'd rather hang out with her than Worf. And I like Worf, but I feel like Martok could be a hell of a lot of fun in the holodeck. I feel like all of the like fun aggressive stuff that we could do of decapitating Gorns, he's going to be all about that, but he's also going to be wildly drunk and smoking cigars. You know who Martok is in this equation? Martok is like the 52-year-old guy who's been married a couple of times that comes to the bachelor party and is fucking lit. Like that guy who is like, he knows some stuff and he is ready to party and he's just ready to fly off. Like that's who he is. So I think he's going to be a blast.
How do you think Martok lost his eye? Holodeck sex injury.
I bet.
All right, so we got one more, and then before we leave, I'll kick it to the chat here in a minute. So chat board, think about what combo you'd like us to do, and we'll do a couple of those, and then we'll go ahead and finish up. But for our purposes right now, we'll do We'll do some of the civilians here. So Neelix, Quark, and Garrick.
Is Neelix a civilian?
I know.
I mean, I feel like he's not an officer for sure. I feel like he's I don't know military terminology.
When we know where Heaton's not going to make him an officer.
Contractor. What did you say?
Oh, I said, well, we know that Heaton's not going to make him an officer then. God forbid.
I don't know how
he didn't earn it, man. He didn't earn it, man.
I think Neelix is a civilian contractor. I think. I don't know exactly how that works, but I don't believe he has a rank. I think he's a.
I
thought he was considered chief morale officer.
Oh, that's right. He is morale officer. Yeah. Huh.
He gets the badge. I don't know if he has pips or not.
He has some experience.
Yeah.
I know what Heaton's going to say, and Heaton's going to, no matter what, Garrick's going to be his first officer. I know that.
I think so. I'm debating.
Garrick's his favorite character in the history.
Garrick is my all-time favorite.
I think you can put him in a minute.
I don't know if he'd make a good first officer though. I feel like Garrick would be, much as I love Garrick, I feel like he would be stirring up intrigue all the time. Like Garrick would constantly be like pulling you aside, going, "I don't want to alarm you, Captain, but the engineer has been saying some things that I would describe as difficult." And then and he'd just be stirring things up constantly. Whereas I feel like Holodeck, he'd be awesome. Like Holodeck, we're going to get trapped in there, and then he's going to give me some awesome story about like when to cut your losses and that kind of thing, and then we're going to pull through. So I think I'm going to go with Garrick for Holodeck.
Who's your first officer?
Oh, Jesus, I forgot about the other guys. Yeah, Quark would be terrible. Quark would immediately start like selling panels of the ship on eBay. Like Quark would jump.
I'd redshirt Quark
first chance he got. So Quark's out for first officer for sure.
Him and the Crushers can all be first officer. Can all be redshirted together for all I care.
Do I go with Neelix as my first officer?
Well, he doesn't. He only has a little bit of experience.
Odo was in here somewhere. Something because I thought Odo was in here somewhere.
Not for this one. Odo was a We had Odo with Odo, Spock, and Data as an outsider.
Who did we just say wasn't an officer then?
Neelix.
No. Before Neelix, I thought we were talking about Odo because he's a constable, but he's not technically. I'm wrong. I
don't know. You know what? I'm going to go with Garrick. Garrick's going to stir up some shit. You know, he's like a CIA agent. He's he's like ordered gulls around and stuff. Garrick's awesome. I'm making him my first officer.
We know. We all know.
Yeah, we knew it was coming.
We all knew it was coming
to happen. And I hate to do it. I'm going to go with Quark for. I don't hate Neelix. I don't have that Neelix hatred a lot of Voyager fans have. But Neelix is going to get redshirted. I'm going to go with Quark for the Holodeck Buddy.
Quark. I'm going to go Quark for Holodeck Buddy. Despite the fact that I know that I'm going to get charged a lot of money, because he will charge me even though it's free. However, I feel like he's probably got a pretty good corner on the market of like skeezy programs.
I think you're right about that. I'm actually going to reverse mine. Quark is red shirt. Neelix is Holodeck Buddy. Here's why. I feel like Neelix is like the unlicensed life coach that has like pretty good at like not formally trained, but he's got a shingle out there and he's pretty good at pepping you up. And I feel like Neelix is going to be really good for like, just like, kind of bigging up my ego, making me feel more confident and stuff. Like we'll go through some childhood scenarios. We'll talk about it. Neelix is going to be recuperative in a way that Quark wouldn't be.
That's the order I have. The same thing as Heaton right now. This one, the new one with Neelix and the holodeck. Quark again, red shirt, so fast. I would redshirt a Ferengi in a minute. Not a fan, and I'll tell you that, not the best. And I'll take Garrick as first.
I'm gonna go the opposite way there. I'm gonna go with Quark as the holodeck guy, but I'm gonna redshirt Garrick, and I'm gonna reluctantly have Neelix as my first officer.
What?
I'm redshirting Garrick for the good of my ship because he's almost
you just
certainly
lost your invite to Heaton's wedding. I think that's what just happened.
You just got
future wedding.
I don't know if you know this, but he will probably have forgotten it by then. Old age. No.
Well, given that we're all going to live in quarantine for the next 4.5 years, it's a decent bet, Jennings.
Yeah.
Wow, this quarantine went from 2 weeks to 6 months so fast.
Oh God.
Well, hold on. Wait. So Garrick, you're going to make a red shirt.
Not a
You're afraid of getting destroyed? Okay, so I'll move on. There's a couple of really good ones here. Perev00, is that John? I think that's John. Because there's some good ones here. V'ger, Nomad, and Lore.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with V'ger for first officer, just because I think the sheer intelligence of V'ger probably outranks the other two. Lore for Holodeck Buddy again. Nomad, red shirt. I feel like Nomad's just a giant floating needle.
Yeah, Nomad's a waste of space.
I'm going to agree with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a really good one. I like this one a lot. Roloran, Locutus, and Kai Wynn. Kai Wynn's a great villain.
Ooh.
Kai Wynn is a great villain. That's why I'd probably have to redshirt. Because that's.
I would redshirt her. I'd redshirt her for being annoying.
With a shot to the heart, Jennings with a shot to the
personality capacity. She's going to have the same foibles as Loaxana Troy, minus the charm. Like all of the kind of like impish charm of Troy, gone. All of the manipulative part remains.
She's the Hillary Clinton to Elizabeth Warren.
I'm going to go with Ro Lauren for Holodeck Buddy. She's certainly going to be the most fun.
There you go.
And I'm going to do Locutus for first officer, and I'll go Kai Wynn red shirt.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That sounds good.
And then can you guys help me on this one? I actually don't recognize all these characters, but Eric brings up Malcolm Reynolds. He's the Brit. We know him. Delin and Jim Holden. I don't know the other two. Do you guys know those characters?
No, I don't either. When you say Jim Holden, is it possible that you were attempting to type Jim Hadar?
I don't. It looks pretty. Maybe. Hold on a second. New comments. Holden is from The Expanse. Wow, good point. Okay.
I have not seen. I've only seen part of the first episode of The Expanse, so no spoilers, please.
Yeah. Wow, reached outside Star Trek. I'll go with. Let's see. I don't know who Delin is, but I'll go with Jim Holden as my first officer. He's good in The Expanse. He's on top of stuff. Malcolm Reynolds for Holodeck Buddy, and I don't know who Delin is, so I'm just going to sacrifice him on lack of knowledge.
Malcolm Reynolds would definitely be a great first officer, as long as he didn't decide that you needed to die. But even if he did, you would be facing him, you'd be awake, and you'd be armed. So that's good.
Oh, Malcolm is from Firefly. I thought it was the British guy.
Right. I did that earlier. I said,
"Whoa, crossover." Well, guys, I'll go ahead and
tell me what the Malcolm from Star Trek, what his character name, the full name is, please, because I cannot remember, and it's driving me nuts.
Hold on, let's look this up. Malcolm, Star Trek Enterprise. Malcolm Reed, Lieutenant Malcolm Reed. And he is the armory officer, as I believe was pointed out. I think I'll go ahead and drop what Nick did.
I'm
leave?
back. I had to go out my audio. I couldn't hear anything, so I had to jump back in. I want to say something quickly.
Sure.
I think that when we were talking about Vulcans earlier, Cybok is my holodeck buddy.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Cybok would be great.
Maybe my favorite Vulcan other than Spock.
He's pretty awesome.
Cybok is one of my all-time favorite characters. I think The Final Frontier is severely underrated, and Cybok is a wonderful character. He would be awesome to have it on the holodeck.
I think so too.
Yeah, 100%.
It's definitely going to take away your pain.
Yeah. He'll be even better than Neelix in that regard. Like I'll go in and he'll just like all of that, and I'll walk out and feel fantastic. Yeah, great. Okay. Excellent point. Guys, this was super fun. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah. Thanks everybody
for having us.
Chat room, chat board, thanks so much for coming on. And we'll either do this with Star Trek or probably with some other series in the future as well.
Hey, bye guys.
Bye everybody. Thanks, John.